The test will have 7 questions on drive axle diagnosis and repair. Let's talk leaks. An overfilled differential can cause leaks from the vent tube. If the vent tube is blocked, then pressure will build up inside the drive axle, which can lead to leaks from the seals. There's the pinion seal, axle housing cover gasket, and axle seals. Will worn axle bearings cause axle seals to leak? Well, worn axle bearings can build up heat, which can damage the axle seal, so yes. Next up, noise coming from inside the rear axle. We'll focus on 2 concerns: noise heard while going straight and noise heard on turns. A noise that is heard while going straight can be any of the internal bearings inside of the drive axle. There's usually 4. The pinion drive gear has 2 bearings, and the differential case has 2 bearings, one on each side. All of these bearings are preloaded, so incorrect preload can cause a noise concern as well as shorten the service life of the bearing. Noise that is heard only on turns can be from a worn wheel bearing or from chipped or worn pinion gears. Pinion gears are also known as spider gears. Next, measuring ring gear runout. The tip of the dial indicator is set against the back of the ring gear at a right angle to the ring gear. Paint a spot to indicate starting position and turn the ring gear. The specification is no more than 3/1000ths of an inch. We saw a -2 and a 1, so total runout was 3/1000ths of an inch. Too much runout could be caused by a warped ring gear or a warped case. ASE calls the piece the ring gear is bolted to the case, but technicians have been calling it the carrier for a while now. So ASE calls the case carrier. If there's too much runout, you can remove the case and unbolt the ring gear. Then measure the runout of the case. You'll put the dial indicator against the tip right here, against the tip of this, and recheck. This will narrow down the cause to a bad ring gear or a bad differential case. If you need to replace the ring gear, the drive pinion will also need to be replaced. They are replaced as pairs. Moving on to measuring differential side bearing preload. Same setup as measuring ring gear runout, except this time you'll pry the case and measure the side play. Basically, you don't want to see any side play. The bearings in this example are properly preloaded. The side play you're seeing is from the entire rear axle moving, so it was being pried a little too hard. If there is side play, you will need to add shims according to the amount of side play to get no side play. Once you have no side play, you'll add a specific shim size to add preload. Some differentials have an adjusting nut that is turned instead of adding shims. After the preload is set, check the backlash of the drive pinion and ring gear. The tip of the dial indicator is set against the face of a tooth on the ring gear. The specification here is 5 to 8/1000ths of an inch. It looks like we have about 9/1000ths of an inch. The pinion gear is at the center. To decrease backlash, we're going to have to move the ring gear closer to the center. To do that, remove a shim from the bearing furthest away from the ring gear and add that shim to the bearing closest to the ring gear. This is going to push the ring gear a little more to the center and keep the bearings preloaded. Then you would measure the backlash again. If it had adjusting nuts, you would loosen the adjusting nut furthest from the ring gear and tighten the adjusting nut closest to the ring gear by the same amount. Now, if you would need to increase the backlash, it would be the opposite of the processes stated. Backlash is going to be important for the drive pinion and ring gear tooth contact pattern check. This is done after all measurements are at specification, a sort of final check. Use marking compound on a few teeth. We're only going to focus on the drive side of the tooth. There's a drive side and a coast side. The drive side is the convex side and the coast side is the concave side of the tooth. Think of the tooth as the letter C. The outer part is the convex and the inner side is the concave side. The outer part is the drive side. The outer part touches the pinion gear when moving forward. Okay, the ring gear also has two diameters, a inside diameter, which is small, and an outer diameter. The area inside the inner diameter is called the toe. The area on the outside diameter is called the heel. The top area of the tooth is called the face, and the base area is called the flank. I added the brake drums to give the gears some resistance, and here's our tooth contact pattern. It is more towards the toe side of the ring gear. An ideal pattern is at the center of the tooth. Increasing backlash moves the contact pattern to the heel. Decreasing backlash moves the contact pattern to the toe. In our example, the backlash was already out of specification, but we would need to increase it further to move the contact pattern. Now, the drive pinion could also be moved while we leave the ring gear alone. It could be moved inward and outward via changing the pinion depth. If we move the drive pinion away from the ring gear, this increases pinion depth and the contact pattern moves towards the face of the tooth. Away towards the face of the tooth. Moving the drive pinion closer to the ring gear decreases the pinion depth and the contact pattern moves towards the flank of the tooth. Closer, flank of the tooth. For the test, just remember that backlash changes the heel-toe contact area and the pinion depth changes the face-flank contact area. The last two measurements you can see in the official ASE practice questions. Using the illustration shown, the technician is measuring pinion bearing. Is it backlash, runout, preload, or depth? Which of these is the technician measuring in the illustration shown? Is it side gear clearance, ring gear runout, pinion depth, or bearing preload? Tune in to video number 4. We'll talk about the drive shaft.